guest today is Carolyn Hyams. Did I get that right? Carolyn Hyams, who is the Global Marketing Director of Firebrand Talent, a recruitment agency specialising in creative, comms, digital marketing space, which is everything happening in that space, Carolyn.
Nice to meet you. Thanks very much, Trevor.
That's all right. What can you tell us about Firebrand Talent for those who haven't heard of it? If you've been in the social media sphere, you've probably seen it pop up every now and then because you're very active, and that's what today is all about. But what can you tell us about the business itself?
Okay, well, Firebrand Talent, as you mentioned, are actually an Australian recruitment agency, and we specialise in the digital marketing and creative space, permanent recruitment only. But we're actually, I guess, fairly new in a way because we launched in October 2010. We're an unknown name in the market and no marketing budget to think of. And 2.5 years later, we've really made quite an impact in this space. And in fact, late last year, we won Best Boutique Agency and Best Brand at the Recruitment Excellence Awards. So really proud of what we've achieved in such a short space of time with hardly any money spent as well. So
3 years old. So I guess the thing there is that you start from scratch. You have no, I guess, legacy or heritage systems or anything like that to hold you down. So obviously quite an agile startup.
Yeah, well, the one advantage, of course, is to actually have someone internal to actually work on the marketing strategy, and I had to learn very quickly how to actually be very smart about marketing without spending money. And you know, the obvious thing to do was to really focus on digital marketing, on social media marketing, and that's really been absolutely amazing to help build our brand.
So you've come from a traditional background, marketing background, and a lot of people in that space are still struggling with the whole notion of social media and content marketing and giving away your knowledge and drawing people into your brand versus pushing a message out. How did you cope with that? Was it easy at the start, or you know?
Well, you know, you got to start somewhere, and I think a lot of people are a little bit too cautious, and you kind of take baby steps and learn along the way. And there were a few lessons I learned very quickly. For example, we started a Twitter account, and a Facebook account. But we didn't have any content. So I'm like, oh, hang on a sec, you know, what are we actually going to say? So I immediately realized that the most important strategy, if we want to be thought leaders in the digital marketing and creative industry, was to start a blog. That is really like central station. That's where all our content comes out of, all our thought leadership. And then once we had all our social media platforms, we could actually distribute the content on those various platforms. So yeah, that was my number one strategy, to really get the word out there. And in fact, some companies will find this a little bit hard to believe, but we have more visitors on our blog than our company website.
Gosh, and I love that saying. I've never heard it, Central Station. And when you see pictures of Central Station, there's things happening everywhere. There's people, there's buzz. I love that. I love that.
Thank you.
That's great.
You know, it's like everything starts there and goes out.
It does. It does. It's your home base, your digital heart, all of that sort of stuff. So I guess in 2010, and kicking off a blog, was it strategic in those days, or were you still just getting your feet wet and just trialing things and experimenting? Because it was, well, blogging's been around a long time. Blogging by corporates and businesses in Australia is still, you know, not sort of acceptable wisdom.
Yeah. Well, look, I think I have to admit it was quite strategic initially. And where did I get my inspiration? Well, I met Jeff Bullis.
Yep.
And I think a lot of people know Jeff, and he was quite amazing. He kind of became my social media mentor. And he had been blogging about the importance of really social media marketing and blogging from the top and why CEOs need to get on board.
Correct.
And really push the brand, because your employees are not really going to follow through if your leadership is not going to actually believe in it.
Correct.
So the actually two things happened. One, I helped our CEO launch his blog as a thought leader in recruitment.
Mm-hmm.
And then from a strategic point of view, I launched the Firebrand blog, which is called Firebrand Ideas Ignition. And when I actually launched it, I thought, you know what? We've got a great team of firebranders who have a lot to say. However, if we really want to get enough content out there, and we want to be thought leaders, and we want people in the industry to come and visit our blog, we actually need to invite guest bloggers in the industry to come and contribute to the Firebrand blog, people who were experts in digital and social and marketing and branding, personal branding, and that sort of thing, and actually ask them to blog for us. What we would do is get the word out there, because the full intention was to create huge communities on all our platforms, and so we've actually helped them build their brands, and they've helped us with amazing content.
I see you've got Jeff as one of your guest bloggers as well, Jeff Bullis.
Yes, we're mutual fans.
Excellent. And I guess just talking about what the sorts of things you do blog about, you are a recruitment agency, and you do talk a little bit about, you do have articles about business and career and recruitment, but you don't overcook that, because ultimately the people who you're trying to get to in marketing, digital, creative and comms, you need to add value and contribute to their lives professionally. So a lot of what you do write is about social media, marketing, digital, creative, personal branding, while at the same time, I think you get the balance really nicely with the hiring trends and as I said, the personal branding, which locks back into career. So I think you've got a really, really nice mix there. It's a really vibrant blog.
Thanks, Trevor. I think that is absolutely key, and I think I've seen a lot of companies make this mistake, and recruiters as well, is they tend to blog about recruitment, and that's a pretty dry subject if your target audience aren't recruiters. They don't want to hear about that. They want to hear about what's happening in their industry.
And what's in it for them.
I beg your pardon?
And what's in it for them.
Yeah, absolutely. They want to learn. They want to increase their knowledge. They want to know what's happening in marketing. What are the latest digital marketing trends? They don't want to hear very much about recruitment. But we really do focus on careers within digital marketing and creative. And that's relevant to people.
Yes. And I guess it's an interesting one too, because you need to be appealing to individuals, because they're the ones that are moving around, and their career development is important to them. But also agencies are employing, but as you say, you're more for the corporate side of things. So people within the corporates, they're wanting to know, well, what's happening in the industry and who's out and about in terms of, what are hiring trends and how can I improve that process of the business.
Yeah, Trevor, I have to say that, even the people who are hiring, they have careers.
They do.
So really, when we are actually talking to individuals rather than businesses. You're
making them better at what they do for their career, whether it's their job or it's to move into another job. Exactly.
We aim very high. There's articles on how to be a better CMO, and then there's articles about how to get into the industry. So we really cater for the very senior and the very junior, and really focus on talent, because, without great talent, you haven't got a business.
Exactly, that is right, and as I always say in this business, that your assets walk out the door. I say 6 o'clock; it's usually probably about 8 or 9 o'clock. But your assets are the people. Let's switch gears to the community. You mentioned that before, very important, and I think when you go into this space, it is blogging content. But it's also the social side of things, and the two are inextricably linked. It's not just whacking up a Twitter account and a Facebook account for no reason. You've got to have a reason for doing that. So let's talk about the community and how you've grown your social outposts, as it were. So I've got some stats here. Facebook, I think you got about 2,800 likes on that. Twitter is just critical for you. You've got 32,000 followers on Twitter. You follow a lot of people too, which I think is good because it shows it's not just about you, but you're interested in the space and the online community. You've tweeted 25,000 times plus, so that is, you've got some very much some social proof there, some contributions left, right and centre. And that's not just pushing your stuff out though, but you do interact a lot with people, which is fantastic. LinkedIn, you've got a page there around 2,300 people, and YouTube, you've got something like 24,000 views. So you've been building the YouTube, been building the video side of things as well. So that's a really well-rounded package. To use a recruitment term. What can you tell us about that? How does that work then, the social and the content together?
Okay. Well, first of all, we've also got just to mention, we've got a LinkedIn group as well. And we have a Pinterest account.
Okay.
So, and explain how it's all linked together. So basically, as I mentioned, our blog is our content hub. Content marketing is very important to us, but you can't just have a blog and expect people to see your stuff. So you really need to make sure that you are present on every platform that your target audience are on. And some may prefer, obviously, to subscribe to your blog. Some may prefer email. Some prefer engaging on Facebook. Some on LinkedIn. Some prefer looking at pictures on Pinterest. So you really need to be where they are. And so we really work all the platforms, and we also customize our posts for the platform rather than, a spray and pray that people will actually like what we're saying. And
can you walk us through that? What does that mean to you?
Okay, so I guess one of the pet hates is my pet hate is when I'm on Facebook and I see an update and it's I know it's a tweet. It's
got the
hashtags and the ats and Twitter handles and stuff. It's like, you can't be bothered to actually, talk to us on Facebook. This is a tweet. Talk to us in the language that we prefer. And same on LinkedIn. I think the tone needs to be different on Facebook and on Twitter and on LinkedIn. And Firebrand CEO used to say, I love this. He used to say, Facebook's like a pub, Twitter's like a cocktail party, and LinkedIn is like a professional networking event or a conference. And that's the sort of tone you need to take on these platforms. So basically what we do is we publish 3 posts a week, Tuesday, Wednesdays and Thursdays at exactly the same time each day. And those posts are then tweeted out on Twitter. However, one thing that we do is you can't just tweet once and hope that everyone's going to see what you've tweeted, They have to be right in front of Twitter to see that. So what we do is we actually schedule each blog post for a period of 6 months. That may sound like a lot, but you're trying to reach people at different times of the day. We don't just tweet the same tweet. We use different headlines for each post to mix it up a little bit. We post on Facebook, we post on our LinkedIn group, we post on other LinkedIn groups where it may be of relevance, other industry groups. We pin our blog post on Pinterest. People like to look at the images and then link back to our blog. And then, very importantly, we ask our entire team of Firebranders to share our blog posts on their networks, and that really increases the amplification of posts. It's like there are human distribution channels. They can spread the content way further than just relying on your marketing department, especially if your marketing department's really small, and ours is only 2 people, believe it or not.
And it's... You say believe it or not, but I think, the whole Firebrand Talent brand, it feels a lot bigger than what it is, and it looks like you've got, you know, a big marketing department or a, you know, a PR department of people who are out there creating the content and putting it out there, because you are omnipresent. And that's what's got my attention, is it doesn't matter where I am or any time I'm looking at Twitter or something, you're popping up and I'm reading your stuff. But it's not just your own stuff. I'll jump in there. It's not just your own stuff that you're pushing out, but you're also putting links to other things that are relevant. And as I said earlier, on Twitter, you're also talking with people and interacting. So there's that side of things. Plus you have got the Firebranders, the other people in your business. How many are on Twitter and sort of active? Because there's quite a few, I think, I've run into online.
Yeah. At last count, it was 83% of Firebranders. And actually, when you add up all the followers, we've probably got about 65,000 in total.
Gosh, that's excellent, and that's almost, it's not decentralising it to a degree, but it's empowering your staff to do that. What's the story there? I mean, some companies would hate to do that, and they would, you know, make sure that they watch every word that they say. But the key word there is empowerment.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, our Firebranders are central to our content strategy, to our strategy in general. They are the face of Firebrand, and they certainly don't hide behind a do not reply email address. So we really put them out there, and obviously it depends on who you hire. You want to hire people that you can trust. Believe it or not, we don't have a social media policy. Yes.
Okay.
And that will make people very nervous. But, you know, so hiring the right people, and people who really believe in your strategy and can actually see the benefits of getting their personal brand out there, and Firebrand's brand as well. So we really encourage them to build their brand. So people know, oh, you're a Firebrander, you know, they're fantastic.
And they're out in the marketplace. I mean, that's their role, is to be networking and being out there and being noticed and seen. So it works for you, but it works for them, because it makes their job a lot easier to be known.
They've seen the benefits.
That's fantastic. So there's no social media team per se. There's two of you in the marketing team, and you're the drivers of it.
Correct.
But you've got assistance and support in arms and legs for other things, in terms of the Firebranders and tweeting and stuff.
That's right.
Are they your eyes and ears?
Exactly. I mean, we're on it all day. We're on social media all day. But that's not the only thing we do, but I would say it probably takes up about 60% of our day. So
I want to talk about that, 60%. So that means this is basically your marketing. I know you do other things, you know, in the marketing world, and you probably run events, and you've got the e-salary survey, which I think is really, well, that comes back down to content. That's a sort of a content play as well. Again, adding value. So is it that virtually all your marketing is about being helpful and adding value?
Very much so. Very much so. We really are. We want to be experts in digital marketing creative. We want to be the thought leaders. We want to add value and not just be placing bums on seats. So, you know, in the end, you need to differentiate yourself and add value to your talent and your clients. Otherwise, you know, recruiters are just not going to survive just doing traditional recruitment. So we really want to be a cut above, and you have to kind of walk the walk, talk the talk, and really be in it. I would say that we don't do a lot of traditional marketing. You won't find a print ad anywhere. Everything that we do for Firebrand is digital. So,
have you got an email list? Is that a core part of what you do? Newsletters?
A lot of email marketing, actually. And actually our blog is really helps with this. One of the things we do is once a month we send out an email to all our clients and our talent with our 5 most popular blog posts per month. And we find that this really drives more people to our blog and more sharing of our content, and they can really see, a lot of people just prefer emails. There's some people aren't on Twitter and Facebook and whatever. Correct. So we really have to kind of combine everything together. And in the end, we're actually pushing them back to the blog to show, where our expertise lies.
So you said earlier about the blog being a lot more visits to the blog than the website. Are people jumping off the blog and going, it's all housed in the one thing? Are people going off the blog and moving through the website? Is that what you see?
It's a really good question, actually, because this is our key strategy. Every digital platform we have links to all our other digital platforms. Mm-hmm. So whether someone's on the blog, if they go to the blog, they'll find esalarysurvey.com where they can compare their salary. They can find a link to the Firebrand website, to our social media platforms, to our jobs, links to our online profiles of our talent agents. If you go to our website, you'll find our blog, our eSalary, our social platforms. If you go to Facebook, you'll find all the links to everything else. So everything links, and it is like a journey. They start somewhere and they can move right around the sphere of digital platforms that we're on. And that's what it's all about. It's just showing them the whole package and taking them on a journey.
So an integrated, that's a true integrated strategic approach.
Yeah.
So what's your sort of, for brands that are, whether small, medium or large, really, I mean, I think a lot of the rules still apply. Obviously, if you're smaller, it's a lot easier to be a bit more nimble and human, which we've got to be these days. But what's your advice for someone who's a company or a CEO that's thinking about getting into this space, but I haven't got the time to blog, and what's it mean to me? I know I should do it, but mate, those ones that are kind of teetering on the edge. Have you got any advice for them?
Well, like I said in the beginning, Trevor, I really think that the sort of digital strategy needs to be led from the top. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, you won't get buy-in. And also, I think that if the MD or the CEO does not believe in it, the marketing team, or even if it's just doing marketing, is not going to get any traction at all. They need the support of the leadership to actually, get ahead and get the teams on board as well. I can say that it doesn't need to be an expensive journey. For the small to medium-sized companies, they often say, we don't have the resources, we don't have the money, we can't hire an agency to manage this. I would say, they should turn their businesses into a social business. All employees, whether it's HR, whether it's the CEO, whether it's the staff, and perhaps one or two, or maybe just one marketing person, everyone should be social and be encouraged to do so.
You raise a very good point there. I talk about being a connected brand, so it's not just the content, it's not just being on social media channels, but it's what you do with it and the thought leadership you take, but also the willingness to be out there and connecting with people, being open and transparent and relentlessly giving and being available and helpful and providing utility. So there's a number of things, and that to me is marketing today, or certainly PR, and coming from a PR background, which I think drives marketing to a large degree. But forget the words that I'm using. I mean, that's what I've noticed about Firebrand and why you've always come onto my radar, because I read your stuff anyway. I'm in the space, I'm interested, I've come across you, I see you, I interact with people from your company. I know people who work for your company. But the big difference is it's this whole approach that you guys are doing that stands you above a lot of other companies your size and bigger. Thank you. That's very kind of you to say. And so it's good to see that there is method to the madness. There is a strategy
behind it. But one thing that a lot of people don't realize is if you're not on the social platforms, for example on Twitter, you're missing out big time. You're missing out on customer service recovery. I mean, the first thing people do these days, if they have a complaint, they tweet about it. If you're not on Twitter, you're going to miss it. You won't be able to actually take it offline, fix it, and turn people into advocates. So, there's the whole customer service component of it. Yeah. That's really important.
And also being aware that not everyone's on Twitter. And so, you know, LinkedIn is obviously extremely important. You've got 4 million Australians on it. You know, it's just continues to emerge. I think it's even past emerging. It's out there and it's mainstream. But obviously in your space, it's very important. But you've also, you know, you're probably also aware that people don't want to be hit up on too much on LinkedIn as well. So again, it's adding the value. I've just finished off with, I'd just like to hear if you've any sort of tools or any things that you're using, any dashboards, any sort of monitoring that you're using, any tools that make life a lot easier for you guys in this space?
We do use tools because after all, you're only human, right? And you've only got a certain amount of hours per day. So there are tools you can use which are free or very low cost that can really help you be more efficient during the day. I will say that when we post on our various platforms, we don't use a one tool fits all. We don't use a Hootsuite and just kind of spray it out. We do customize our post per platform. But the tools we do use, for example, if it's Twitter, we use TweetDeck as our Twitter client, and that's been absolutely fantastic.
And we're losing it soon. Twitter's shutting it down.
Please don't tell me that. They
are. I don't know when, but I'm still using it. And
I'm still using it.
Yeah. Just be aware. Just be aware.
Okay. There are a couple of other Twitter tools which are fantastic. Buffer app, which allows you to schedule your tweets. It actually looks at your last 1,000 followers and says, okay, this is the optimum time to actually post your tweet. Send it to the Buffer app and it does it for you. It's absolutely fantastic. And that actually posts on LinkedIn as well. So that's fabulous. We use Manage Flitter to flash out all our unwanted people we follow, because we do have to use auto following tools to build our audience. We use Tweet Edit to do this based on keywords in their bio and their location. It's absolutely fantastic. We also use Tweepy, which is a more manual process. We're really looking for industry people to follow. So that's really fantastic. Obviously, Bitly to shorten our links. And Social Oomph we use to do our tweet scheduling.
Instead of Buffer.
Instead of Buffer, because remember, we do about 6 months of tweet scheduling for each post, and you can't do that with Buffer app.
Yeah.
So Social Oomph is a brilliant tool, and it's very low cost. I use virtually all of the ones that you've mentioned, so we're really much on the same track. Not Social Oomph though, so I might check that out. I don't do the tweet editor thing, but I know people who have in the past. I experimented with it. I find I got into Tweepy the other day and looked at it, and it's still very manual to do, which I like, because I want to see who I'm following and just seeing if there are new sort of people that are out there that I'm missing. And that's what I like about Twitter, is that, you know, it puts you into connection with people who in otherwise life you might not ever get to meet. So I think that discovery and wanting to be part of it and open up to other areas and building the networks is all very, very important. Carolyn, this has been fantastic, because I like how it's all been put together. It's very much on a content play with a sort of a social dimension, how everything is integrated, your use of the tools, but also how you've got staff empowered to be involved, and how social, even though it's emanating from a marketing team, how it's washed throughout the organisation, and even the people at the top are heavily involved, those guys as well. So thank you very much for your time and for your generosity in letting us in on a bit behind the scenes of Firebrand Talent. You're very welcome. Thanks, Trevor.
Thank you.